Message for my people.
Nick Dab, baby. We the new label.
Yeah. Now this the black sheep, sticking it to him. I need a crib like I'm Gatsby.
I need it.
In hand, just understand my
Pockets that deep.
with nothing to prove. I ain't got nothing to do. When they can't compete and I got nothing to lose. You see, they told me I'm the one that's gonna benefit. Never been a threat.
My man, George Carmona back in the building. We're back in the building, baby. Veterans Minimum coming live from the Sirius XM studios here at the Win.
Whoa. Say that one more time.
Sirius XM studios. So for those wondering, yeah, right there, as you can see. For those wondering why we haven't been recording in here, there was some turnover. New people came in, took over the studio, had to wait a little bit, had to iron out a couple things, and we'll be back here recording rather often, definitely once a week, but big love to you.
Absolutely. I appreciate it.
Big love to you. Big love to Trav, Austin, John Orlando, everyone at Sticky Paws for giving us a home in between this little transition that we went through.
It was fun, dude. It was like when you have a sleepover, like as a kid, where you're like, oh, shit, he's coming over to our house this time, you know? Like, make sure you clean up. That's the way it felt.
Yeah, I feel special.
Yeah.
Oh, let's go. Nah, but it was cool, man. The hospitality was great. People like that vibe, too. Like, it does fit more of the show vibe. Like, we should be recording there more.
I mean, I've never recorded.
Isaiah, if you could throw just a sky cam up real quick, just because, I mean, everyone knows, but like, that's more where we should be recording.
I'm down whenever you're ready to, dude. I've never sat in those seats and done a show.
Yeah?
I'm a Hall of Fame row type guy.
Yeah.
I mean,
we can see the pink pants, too.
Well, I can.
Look at the
shoes
I got on.
My
Christmas gift.
That I got you.
Let's go. That's love.
I was about to say, I was like, those look familiar.
Yeah. Shout out to George, man.
Shout out to you left them over at the sleepover.
Yeah.
At the Sticky Paws sleepover, you left them.
Shout out to everyone that's been listening. 4 straight months of 75,000 downloads. It's fucking outrageous.
That's like,
dude, listen.
That's nuts.
And I don't really like, I don't want to say I don't care about the numbers, because I do. We all do. We all want the following. We all want the recognition for your work, right? So I'm not going to say I don't care about the followers or the numbers. I will say I do ignore them a lot. Like, I'll post and go. I won't look at how well this episode did until like later on.
Right.
And then Jeremiah hit me up. He was like, dude, your show's killing. I was like, yeah, I feel like we're in a good stride. He's like, nah, yo, your numbers are going crazy. And then I went and looked. I was like, oh, shit. Okay.
Pleasant surprise.
Yeah. And it's cool, man, because, excuse me, I've always felt like the content is good, man. But I can't control the algorithms. I can't control all that stuff. So I just put the best shit out there. I clearly care about it, doing it after all these years. I'm just like, yeah, let the universe do its thing.
Right.
And it has the last couple months. So shout out to all you guys. Continue to share the content. Continue to tell your friend, your girlfriend, your grandparents, your parents.
Yeah.
Your side piece. You never know. People might have one. Everybody. Just download, listen, share, subscribe, comment.
It's free.
Doing some remodeling, creating a new YouTube channel. It's going to be a heavy launch in May. And it's going to be a lot of fun stuff on there. And yeah, man, we're in a good place. Happy to be back in here. And I feel like the studio's mine, bro. That's how I perceive it and view it. I know it's not. I know it never has been mine, but like just the way I carry myself in it, and like when I show people it and I talk about it,
yeah,
I'm like, yo, this is my shit.
Dave just said, as I was going to the bathroom, he was like, so you and Nick run this place? And I was like, whoa. I was like, I'm a bystander, all right? But yeah, that it just goes to show that his comment is exactly what you're talking about.
Listen, Dave, shouts to Dave Ross. He was on the pod last week. I don't run the place. However, we could get a visual of what's walking by outside, even though nothing's walking by. But we got the LED wall. We got the glass now, right? Like, people walk by. So whenever,
Yeah.
Nice.
Since
A nice thing walks by.
Since I have one of
I will
these,
tell them that
since I
do.
got a ring, I get to sit in this chair.
Yeah.
Other single guys, I wouldn't imagine you allow the opportunity.
Yeah. Well, I do. I look off the reflector. So
Right.
if I see off the reflection,
But it's like a funny
then I'll
mirror.
look. Yeah.
It
Shout
can
out.
look fatter than what it actually is.
Whoa. Yeah.
You know, pretty hot and tempting. That's a PHAT.
Where I was going with this story is I don't run the studio, but someone nice comes by. I do say that I do run the studio. So hey man, don't hate the player, hate the game. You know what I'm saying? George, I want to talk to you about NFL win totals in the NFC. I know a couple weeks ago they revealed them rather early too. I feel like they haven't put out the win totals this early. They usually drop right after the draft.
Yeah.
And then it coincides with the schedule being released. But it seemed like the NFL was just like, oh, yo, let's give them the win totals. And then that dominated news for 10 days. Like, oh, can you believe that they're at 8.5 win total and all this shit? So I know we kind of touched on the Falcons and the Jets and I think maybe the Chargers, but I want to talk and we'll run by all the teams in the NFC. We'll go division by division. And then I want to just have an open convo. Like, which one is your favorite bet? Which one surprised you? Which one you're like, damn, bro, they're 9.5 wins? Because usually the number is, if you're a 9.5 win team that they're projecting, you could think playoffs and Super Bowl.
Right.
If you're 6.5, probably not going to happen.
Correct.
By New York Giants, for example.
Not going to happen.
Not going to happen. So that's kind of the conversation I want to have as our guest,
Yes.
our delightful co-host. By the way, we've been doing this show together now for about a year or two.
I was just about to say our anniversary's got to be coming up here soon.
Probably past.
Nah. I think it was over the summer.
Yeah.
It was over the summer, and then you were like, you know what? I think I want to make this a thing. I want to have you on often. So, yeah, I mean, I'm loving a couple of these NFC win totals early on here. I guess I could start with the Cowboys.
Okay.
At 10.5. I think that one is my favorite win total, and I would be taking that over.
Oh.
Because I think the Cowboys, if they're good for anything, they're good for dialing up an amazing regular season. And I don't think the division is changed up too much. I still think that they're going to get their 2 wins over the Giants. I think they're going to get 2 wins over the Commanders, and I know they always play close. But Philly, Philly and Dallas are both in this spot where they're being predicted to do insanely good things, but there's only been minor changes, and both of those coaches are on the hot seat. So I do think there's going to be a sense in the Cowboys organization to, hey, we messed up for the past 2 years in the playoffs, but we're still an 11, 12-win team. We are a dominant threat, and people should be afraid of us. And I think that just continues on to next year. So I really do like the Cowboys at 10.5 here with a little fire lit underneath their ass.
It's interesting to note that the last 3 years, they've went 12-5 each year.
Wow.
To your point, we like Dallas until January.
Correct.
Which is what this bet is.
Uh-huh.
So I agree with you. September to January 8th, whenever the regular season ends, Dallas is not the issue. It's after that where you got to expect the fuckery, which happens every year.
Correct.
You know why? Because it's happened every year.
Correct.
And last year, I thought was their best chance to avoid that because they actually got to host the game. And it was the first time ever that a wild card team, since they expanded to 7 teams in the wild card,
right,
in this new era of wild card football, that the 7th seed actually won.
Right.
And they didn't win. The game was over at halftime.
Yeah.
So it was LG's try again next year.
Mm-hmm.
So to your point, what's interesting about Dallas, over 10.5 wins, plus 105 right now. So you get a plus number. Because I do think people think there's going to be regression. I don't think there's going to be regression in the regular season with them.
Yeah.
I think they're going to be fine. I think it's a 10-win team. And if you have those one-score games that went against you last year go your way or vice versa, I think they're around 11 or 12-win team once again.
Yeah.
I'm a little concerned that they lost Dan Quinn. But then he also got kind of
I think it was a very lucky year for the Cowboys defense. And I think that it's crazy to think that they set the NFL record, or Trayvon Diggs did, in week 12 of the NFL for most pick six in a season.
No, it was
not Trayvon.
Bland.
Deron Bland. There we
Yeah.
go. So I do think that there was a good deal of luck that went behind a lot of their success. But then, I am going to credit Dak Prescott for he's been consistent, dude. Ever since he came back from his leg injury, we know that he does have limitations, and I think those limitations start in January. But up until that point, he seems to be able to find CeeDee Lamb rather easy. And based on reports from you that, the Cowboys like to enjoy their offseason, and,
You saw who's holding out for a new contract?
who?
CeeDee Lamb.
I think he needed it. I think
Listen,
bank-
if
hey,
you guys,
he learned how much the bank can credit you. I think it's out.
Yeah. We saw it in HD 4K. CD's habits. We'll leave it at that. Yeah. So and also like there was some reports that maybe Micah Parsons has kind of soured a couple people.
Right.
He's also going to be due up for a monster contract. Like Josh Allen on the Jaguars, probably the best pass rusher no one talks about. Like he just had a career year. I think he had 17.5 sacks last year. But it's Jacksonville. They kind of underachieved. Not kind of. They definitely underachieved last year. And he got a big bag. Parsons is going to get like close to $200 million for a defensive player like that.
Rightfully so.
Yeah, no, for
Rightfully
sure.
so.
I still think he's the best. He just can't play a full season. That's
Right.
the issue with him.
But I think once you have caliber of players that are like in the top 3 at their position, that it's well worth it, and you need to just, solidify the team around them. And, you got 3 of them. I'm putting Dak Prescott up there because to be a 12-win quarterback in the NFL, it's a very difficult task to achieve.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be on repeat mode, and they're going to help him out. I think Tony Pollard's got to, come back a little bit healthier.
He's on Tennessee.
Right. So who are they going to pick up?
They're probably going to draft a guy because I don't think they did anything. Dallas Cowboys running back. By the way,
You got
Micah Parsons.
Dowdle,
Yeah.
Rico Dowdle, and
Yeah.
then you got the Vaughn kid that the little short guy.
Yeah, they're talking about potentially bringing back Zeke.
I mean, a
That's
healthy Zeke.
That's horrible.
It is a
But
bad
yeah,
pick.
about Micah Parsons,
You do need a run game.
it's not to correct what I said before. He doesn't miss games. He actually plays a lot. He played every game last year. But what happens is he'll get that injury, and then it'll downgrade his play the rest of the year.
Mhm.
And that's kind of what happened last year, and it's happened often to him. So I don't know if injury prone is appropriate, but that's the thing with Micah Parsons. Staying in that division, I mean, I think Giants 6.5 wins. It gotta be under.
Really?
I mean, bro. First of all, it's minus 150 under 6.5 wins.
So this one's, I would put this one more so in the category of like this line was wrong. Are you considering this like the worst one?
I think I think they're a 3-win team.
Is this your favorite?
Oh,
bet
yeah.
under.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
for sure. It's
Okay.
it's one of the favorites, definitely. Yeah, dude, the team is not good. Like, I've talked about this so many times, but you know how I know the Giants aren't good? Outside of me, like being, I've always been a pretty honest fan. Like, I don't think my team's gonna win the championship every year. I'm pretty honest assessing my teams. Bro, none of my friends make fun of me when they lose. Like, none of my boys hit me up and be like, suck balls, bro. Cowboys all day. You know?
Right.
Oh, my phone's been dry as shit the last
Business as usual. We're
decade.
supposed to beat them.
Yeah, it's just like, it's not even cool. Like, I get no hit ups. None of my Jet friends that troll the Giants hit me up. Like, it's a dud, bro. No one cares. The team is not good. They lost Barkley. So now how do you even sell tickets, bro? Like, what's the big appealing guy that's on the team? It's gonna have to be one of these rookie wide receivers. I think they do take a wide receiver. But then what do you do at quarterback? Daniel Jones is gonna come back Tommy DeVito, that was cool, but that fucked up the draft pick because they should have had a top 2 pick.
Right.
Instead, they're picking 5 now. Or 6. I think they're 6. So they're just not a good team, and
Yeah.
6.5 wins.
Darren Waller is going to be your he's going to be your poster child.
He's not even sure if he wants to play football anymore.
Really?
Yeah. I got a good Darren Waller story for you
After this?
after this. Yeah.
Got you.
Give me another one that jumped out to you. Because there's definitely a couple in the NFC.
Well, I mean, I know we talked about the Falcons one, but here, let me give you this: the Carolina Panthers.
Okay.
This one, I
5.5 wins.
correct.
Minus 150 to the under.
I feel like this one is wrong in the sense that it should be lower. It should be 4.5. And for the sole purpose being that the Carolina Panthers never last year had the lead in the fourth quarter, yet they won 2 games, which means their only 2 wins came off of last-second field goals. I don't understand how a team that performed that poorly can be predicted to possibly win 6 games in a division that, you know, they play each other tough. But like, what did Bryce Young do last year that shows us that they're that good? And I haven't been looking at NFL win totals as long as you have. What was the lowest win total that you ever saw going into a season? Or is this like the bottom of the barrel?
Nah, I think the lowest was the Texans after Watson got suspended.
Okay.
Because remember, with Watson, I think they won 4 games.
Mm-hmm.
He had a monster year. Like, his numbers were ridiculous. And then that next year, I think they were like 4.
Right.
And they went under.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, with Carolina. You know what's crazy, bro? One of Carolina's wins last year was against Houston. And I think it was, and that was the best game that Bryce Young played. 22 of 31, 235 and a touchdown.
Didn't it finish like 20? It was in the 20s, the final score.
It was 15-13. But it's just
it's
funny
even
because
uglier than I thought. Oh,
it's just so hilarious that was their win. Because I remember Kenny and I put them in Circa. They were like 3-point underdogs at home. And we're like, bro, if there's a game they're going to win, all that's been happening is this guy's been getting dumped on. The other guy's getting praised.
right.
I think the team's going to play hard for him for this game.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. And it came down to the end, too.
Yeah. Well, I don't think there's going to be like a sophomore year resurgence. I think Bryce Young, they haven't shown that they are willing to improve the caliber of people around him. They got to get really lucky on the draft. Are they in contention to get Marvin Harrison, or is that going to be the Commanders?
Nah, bro, they don't have their draft pick. Chicago does. So that's another reason why them sucking last year made no sense.
Do you think they're waiting though to get a pick late, like draft day? They move up. They need it.
I don't think they can afford to be moving up. I think they need to acquire as many assets as they can.
Are they in the worst situation that a football team's ever been in NFL history? After that bad of a season, knowing what you have at quarterback, not having your draft pick, you got to go up and get one.
I think if you factor in, they already hate the new owner and knew like he's been there a couple of years. Crowd attendance is low because the team is bad. They've traded away every good player they've had the last 5 years. And then all the trades that they didn't make or made, right? So like the trade they didn't make for Brian Burns, all those draft picks, what they could have been for a 1-year rental. And then what you gave up for Bryce Young and what those picks are turning into. And don't forget, you gave up DJ Moore also.
Right.
It's hard to not pick them as one of the worst situations to be in.
Everything just went downhill after Cam Newton did the "I'm back,
Oh, yeah.
I'm back," and then it was just a steady
Yeah.
downhill after that.
It was a cool soundbite, but you're like, yo, bro, you're playing the Cardinals. That's not, I remember that. I'm pretty sure it was the I'm back Cam Newton was against
The Cardinals.
The Cardinals, yeah. Let's see.
Cardinals, one of the Cowboys' losses last year. Just goes to show. Cowboys.
Oh no, it was Washington. Oh no, it was the Cardinals. Red logo Cardinals. Yeah, I'm back. Look, I got it right here.
That's funny.
Back. Yeah, Carolina under, man. Not a fan. The last 2 teams we picked have been shitty. Let's pick a good team. Can I give you a good team's win
Yes.
total that I like?
Go for it.
And I like it a lot. A lot.
Okay.
You know, every year the podcast turns into a team podcast, right? Like, you know, my favorite team is the New York Giants, but my favorite team week to week is the team I bet on. And year to year, it's the team that I go heavy on with the futures, right? We were a Cincinnati Bengals podcast for a little bit, and we became a Buffalo Bills podcast for a little bit.
Correct.
And then we closed it out with the Kansas City Chiefs. We kind of chased the winners.
We did.
We chased the winners a little bit.
We like the hot ones.
Yeah. I mean, why not? This pod might become a Green Bay Packers podcast.
Whoa. This one was, it's too high for my taste.
9.5 wins, minus 135 to the over. So it means people are playing the over. And also to remember, win totals are normally professional better bets, because if you make a win total bet, it's a future. So you're eliminating that money from your bankroll for 4 to 5 months.
Correct.
If you're doing them from now, which you shouldn't. Like, I like to wait, especially in the win total market. You're really not going to have things fluctuate too much. Like, the only way it goes from 9.5 to 7.5 is if Jordan Love gets hurt, knock on wood, in the offseason or something like that. Something that tragic. Besides that, like, the win totals are not going to move that much. And for 9.5 with the Packers, the win totals market, I don't do win total bets. I don't, because you have to put down a lot to win a lot. Because, but professionals like it because it's an A or B option.
Right.
There's no division. You got 4 teams that could win it. Sometimes it's really 3, but you never know. And shit, man, the NFL, no league has more turnaround. Like the Texans last year had the number 2 pick, they win the division. You see it happen time and time again. Teams miss the playoffs, the next year they win the division. Teams come in last, the next year they win the division.
Yeah.
So
I was just thinking about that on the card ride over, and I was thinking that only happens to teams that draft a quarterback in the first round. I don't think you can have a monumental change unless that happens.
yeah, that's true.
Like Bijan Robinson's a perfect example. Like Bijan Robinson could have been an MVP candidate last year, and the Falcons would have still done what they did. You know, that's a true statement.
Nah, I feel you on that,
especially with Desmond Ridder point shaving. Wild.
Paul Crew
Crazy.
from Longest Yard. We got him in real life. I like the Packers, man. I think the Packers overachieved last year. I really like Jordan Love. Those are my favorite kind of quarterbacks that sling.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like the last interception that he threw. I don't like those kind of interceptions, I should say. I don't mind if you throw picks. I really don't. That was dumb. It's first down. You only need 3. Kind of forced it. You were doing so well. Like, that was just dumb. Idiotic. But I don't mind if you throw a lot of picks. And he's a gunslinger, dude. And he was top 3 in the league in touchdown passes.
Can I hit you with one to super stay away from?
Yeah.
And it's the rival, the Chicago Bears at 8.5. You people, you steer far clear from this bet right here. You take the under because they're just giving it to you right now. But if you think that Caleb Williams could come in and change the city of Chicago, you are sadly mistaken. Let me tell you the biggest difference between what C.J. Stroud was able to do last year with the Texans and what Caleb Williams was able to do at USC in their final year. So C.J. Stroud was a quarterback that was very conservative. He knew how to protect the ball. He wouldn't go out of his way to make wild plays. Very similar to like what you're talking about with the gunslinger in Jordan Love. That right there is an asset in a quarterback that allows you to win a lot of games. Caleb Williams, go back, watch his last tape from this past year. He got into this sort of like mentality where it's like, I won the Heisman the year before. I got to make these plays happen. And I think it's very tough to rewire your brain. So what I'm trying to get to is that Caleb Williams had an entire year where, bro, you are the LeBron James, the Michael Jordan of USC football. Whatever you do is correct. There's no wrong answers. Even when you fuck up, you're still our guy. CJ Stroud didn't have that leeway, and he had to be by the book, and he was playing an NFL type style. This is why I think the Chicago Bears, and they could possibly not draft him, but I think they've made it pretty clear that they want him number one. I think it's going to be a failure. It doesn't matter. The Keenan Allen addition doesn't bother me. Hopefully Tremaine Edmonds can play way better football than he did last year. But yeah, the Chicago Bears 8.5. Stay away from this one on the over. Take the under.
I don't know if I agree. I think you mentioned it before, how when there's a new quarterback, you see these jumps that you can't account for. Like one of my least, not least, but the handicap that I think I struggle with the most, and I feel like a lot of people would agree with this, is when you have a rookie quarterback coming in, because you don't know if he's going to turn into Andrew Luck or if he's going to turn into Brandon Weeden.
Right.
You just don't know if that impact is going to be immediate, like a CJ Stroud. Is it going to be CJ Stroud or is it going to be Bryce Young to keep it even more relevant times? We just saw it literally happen last year. So it's harder. That's why sometimes the range of outcomes are so volatile for teams like this. Because Bears could go out there and win 5 games. They could win 10 games. And I feel like that might be their range, dude. Because Caleb, he's being surrounded with talent, bro. You got Keenan Allen. You got DJ Moore. They're probably going to take another receiver because they have 2 first-round picks. They have Cole Kmet. They got DeAndre Swift. Defensively, they made some cool additions. DJ Edwards, Edmonds. They were there the year before too. Montez Sweat in the trade, right? Like Kevin Byard in the offseason. Like they have some pieces there. I don't like their head coach. I feel like they should have
fired him, dude.
Could have just started fresh.
Matt Eberflus is dead from the ass up.
Yeah, it's just a weird hiring there. Keeping them, but I don't know. I disagree
He's
a little
puppet,
bit.
like Dennis Allen.
I probably wouldn't bet it either way, but I could see them going over because you got to think there's regression in that division, and it could be the Packers too.
Regression from only the Vikings.
Vikings, yeah.
The Packers are looking tougher than ever, and then you got
your Lions.
Don't get me going about the Lions.
The Lions, yeah.
It's a great number. Take the over.
Yeah. The Lions, by the way, are 10.5 plus 105.
They didn't put them in the elites, but that's fine. That's what Dan Campbell wants.
Yeah. But they're in that tier.
They are. They're in the tier, but we do know that there's a 1A, 1B. They're 1B right now.
Yeah. We mentioned a couple weeks ago Atlanta. Feel even better about it when I look at 9.5 wins. They're minus 140 to the over. Feel really good about that one. Can I give you one more before we wrap that kind of surprised me?
Yeah.
Dude, I think 11.5 for San Francisco is a little high.
Thank you.
I think it's a little high. They're definitely still gonna be there, right? Like,
yeah,
I think they have one more year of maybe even 2. Actually, they have 2 more years because Brock isn't going to be due for an extension until after next season.
Wow! So
they have 2 more years where Brock is going to make less than a punter or around a punter money. So they could afford to have pieces on their team. But I think they're an 11-6 team.
I'm not saying that they're not going to be successful. I think that division got a little tougher.
Would you say that the conference got tougher? I feel like the conference as a whole got better.
Yeah, I mean, as much as we love seeing the Goliaths go at it last year in the AFC, I think there was still a piece that we knew that the most talented teams were in the NFC. Like the Cowboys scream talent. The Eagles scream talent. And then you had the team like the 49ers that, a dude off. They won the dude off of last year, which is just being able to name as many dudes as humanly possible. So to me, I think I don't think Shanahan's it. I think there's a lot of coaches that without us necessarily feeling it, they're more so on the hot seat than we think. And I had mentioned it earlier with Sirianni and Mike McCarthy, but add Shanahan to that list. And it could be, I don't think it's a mid-season type dilemma, but for a lot of these teams, I think this could be it for them. And as talented as those teams are, that I think at some point in time, the standard's going to come down on them. To CMC go off like he did last year, he carried the entire team. Like, that's the thing. Like, the mileage talk with him, it's like, how much more can we make him do? If he was a car, how many miles does he have on him right now?
He's
130?
Not quite getting the check engine light popping up.
Ooh.
But I think maybe halfway through the year he might start. Remember, last year he stayed healthy. Shout out to us. We set the bet him at MVP 150-1. He closed out as one of the favorites. I'll take that call any day of the week.
Yes.
Shout out to me picking him for Offensive Player of the Year, which, by the way,
back-to-back years.
Pick the last two.
Back-to-back.
Right? Like, also, by the way, 16 and 20-1. I'm not giving you plus 200s. We're giving you some pluses, right? These are basically parlays.
Right.
And I'll tell you right now, the 2024 Offensive Player of the Year, 35-1 odds. I've already bet this. Saquon Barkley.
Oh, wow.
You want to know who's having the McCaffrey year last year? This year?
Yeah.
Saquon Barkley.
He's 35 right now?
35-1.
That number will never be higher, ladies and gentlemen.
And let me give you my handicap, right? I'm going to give you the real X's and O's handicap, and then I'm going to give you the Nick Deus factor of this.
Okay.
Which one you want first?
Nick Deus factor.
All right. He's going to go bananas because he's playing on the Eagles. It's the team I hate the most. And to spite the Giants and to spite me, he's going to have 2,000 yards this year. And he should be the number one pick in fantasy. He's going to have the Christian McCaffrey year.
Right.
It's just poetic, bro.
Right.
Poetic. Now,
yeah,
the same thing we said about McCaffrey applies to him. He has to stay healthy. I think he will stay healthy because he's also fired up. X's and O's standpoint, bro, this is the best team he's ever been on. Like, offensive line is top 5 in the league. It was bottom 5. He was running behind with the Giants. He has Jalen Hurts, RPO action. You got Dallas Goedert, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. This guy's never going to see a 7-man box. He's going to be able to, he's going to go crazy, bro.
I mean,
35-1.
Yeah. I mean, but he also is just extremely injury prone. Like,
sure, that's probably why he's 35-1.
That's why I think he should be more than 35-1. I mean, like, what has he legitimately proved to us in the past 2 years that makes us feel like that number should be that? What was McCaffrey at when you put it in?
20. Oh, for this one?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't notice.
That'd be interesting.
I went straight to Saquon.
Did they play the coming home video? I mean, I'm not sure if he was born in Philly, but I know he played at Penn State.
Yeah.
How far away is Penn State from?
I'm not sure.
I was just trying to Google it right now. I put Happy Valley in there because they play at Happy Valley.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, he's gonna feel a little more respected.
I think the situation is just perfect. And it's very similar to what McCaffrey did. He was on a Panthers team where he was the main focus. Teams knew, we take this guy out, it's a wrap. They won't do nothing. And then he goes into that system, and it's perfect. I think this is a perfect system for Saquon Barkley. We do need to wrap.
Yes.
Give me, what were you just about
I was going to say, most surprising, Bucks 7.5. They won the division last year. Baker Mayfield signed a contract. He's happy. People are underestimating him. I think him and Kirk Cousins, same quarterback, and Kirk Cousins just got the bag.
Yeah.
That's the only difference.
Well, Baker got the bag too.
Yeah, I mean now he did. So that's why I feel like they're identical, and that's that.
Before we wrap up, just going to do a rapid fire and list all the win totals for the NFC teams. The highest in the league for the NFC, 11.5 wins, is the 49ers. 10.5 wins, we have the Falcons, Cowboys, Lions, Packers, Eagles. No 9.5 win teams in the NFC. 8.5, we have the Bears, the Rams, and the Bucks. 7.5, we have your Saints, the Seahawks, and the Commanders. 6.5, we have the Vikings, the Giants, Arizona Cardinals, and then we have the Carolina Panthers tied with the New England Patriots for 4.5 wins. Those are your NFC win totals. Let us know what you guys think, what totals you like, what totals you dislike. Yeah,
That's
the show. And that was the show. Thank you all for listening. Shout out to everyone here at the Sirius XM studios. My boys in the control room out here clanging and banging. At Nick Day is 10 as you can find me. All things Veterans Minimum or at Veterans Minimum. George, the floor is yours.
At Mr. George Carmona on all social media platforms. Go find me. That's it.
We'll catch you guys next time.
In his element, I'm a gold medalist, bronze like your medal is. So many deer in headlights, but it's bedtime. Hear that supper bell, main course be the venison.
Dab. Most dangerous game. Either kill or be killed.